Hey y'all, this is Timeka, the face behind HR, and I really want to talk about the differences between HRCI's PHR as well as SHRM's CP. I think that it can be a little confusing because when I started my career, it was only HRCI and it had a lot less options. So back when I started my career 10 years ago, I chose between the PHR, the SPHR, the GPHR. I think it was only those three, and there was absolutely no SHRM. So it wasn't a difficult thing to figure out. I can just look at the minimum qualifications form and pick out which one I wanted. I had a struggle back then because I knew that I wanted the possibility to become a global professional. So I was really worked up, like, should I just wait until I can get the GPHR? And I felt like I needed that experience and knowledge to be able to get there. Now for you guys, they've made it so difficult because now SHRM's made their own exams. So SHRM has the SCP as well as the CP. And here we are with HRCI with a whole list of them. So now you're like, Timeka, okay, I narrowed it down to just knowing that I need the PHR exam or SHRM-CP, but which one should I choose between the two? So, I mean, I was hoping that I was helping you guys out with that when I did the video that tells you the difference between HRCI and SHRM, but I still feel like we could use a little bit more help and a little bit more guidance getting there. So definitely I would suggest looking at that video first and then come back and look at this one. Just don't forget to come back and look at this one, but I would suggest looking at that video first. I'll have it linked in the description box because now at this point, when we're talking about the difference between the CP as well as the PHR exam, honestly guys, it's literally just deciding if you want HRCI or if you want SHRM. Honestly, that's what it goes to. So I'm gonna go ahead and just break it down a little bit more because I think it's gonna take us right back to, do I want HRCI or SHRM? So the first thing is I will say that the PHR exam that HRCI provides is more of a compliance related content. So it tells you a lot of compliance stuff. You'll notice that as you study through the information, you're constantly telling you what's good to stay compliant, what's best practices, what's your best quality of work. On the opposite end, SHRM with the CP is a little bit less compliance. Now it does include compliance, obviously, but it's a little bit less of the compliance area and more of like practical application oriented content. And that's what made me go with SHRM, or I'll say one of the reasons I went with SHRM. That wasn't my number one, but that was one reason I went with SHRM, is because I wanted that practical knowledge information. I didn't want to just know something and just like remember it for an exam. I really wanted to be able to like visualize it or apply it in my workplace or have done it in the past and be able to relate it to information, because I really hate standardized tests and I needed something that was just going to make it feel like every day for me. And so that was one of the differentiators that made me decide to go with getting SHRM certified versus HRCI. But the HRCI exam is slightly different in the requirements as well as the cost. Because they have multiple levels, obviously the requirements are different. And as you would imagine, the cost is slightly different too. SHRM on the opposite side, it also has different requirements and different costs. Less cost and less requirements to look at because you're only looking at 2 exams versus HRCI. But that's a good difference. I mean, it's honestly a similarity between the two, is that they have varying costs between their 2 exams. Now, the next thing is with the PHR exam, you're not getting any of that global knowledge. You ain't getting no global information. You're not being tested on global HR. You're not being asked questions that relate to global HR. But on the SHRM aspect of things, with CP as well as SCP, you are being asked global information. And so if you're somebody who like, I never really want to work in global anyhow, then HRCI would be a great exam for you. But if you're somebody like, I don't know where my career may take me, then SHRM would be best because it's already including that information. It doesn't require you to have to go and take another exam to be able to prove yourself as a global HR professional. Now, another difference is that HRCI has multiple levels to like graduate to. So you'd start with the PHR, then you go to the SPHR, and honestly, you can start with the APHR, go up to the PHR, the SPHR, then the global GPHR. For SHRM, it's a little bit different. You just choose between the CP or the SCP. And so that makes it a little bit easier there, because honestly, if you're trying to figure out like, what do I qualify for if I wanted to be, you know, CP or PHR, PHR can be a little bit more difficult because you can be like, well, I can do APHR, I can do PHRI, you know, all of these other things, right? With SHRM, you can just say, okay, I just want to do CP. There's just nothing really to graduate to except the SCP, not like multiple levels to graduate or to decline to. Now let's talk about some similarities with these two, because I did time to talk about the requirements and the costs, kind of similar because they're both different, right? But some of the similarities between the two is that, you know what? Employers accept both of them. If you get an employer that wants one over the other, it shouldn't be that they want HRCI over SHRM. It may be that they want somebody with global experience versus somebody not with global experience. But I don't think it should narrow down to, well, we only step in SHRM. If you see that on a job description, I would definitely still apply it and not pay any attention, because most times they don't realize that there are multiple exams that you really could qualify for the exact same level of a position. So yeah, and if there's a preference, I would definitely ask, you know, why is there a preference? Don't shy away from asking what that preference was, because it only will give you information as to if you qualify or not. Honestly, a recruiter will probably be like, I don't know why there's a difference, because there really is no difference. They all accept them. They're recognized by all organizations. They're recognized nationally, globally. Like, you're fine with either one that you choose. And then they both show that you're an expert in your field. Don't worry about being like,
well, Timeka, they say SHRM is better.
I say HRCI is better.
No, they both help you to be recognized as a human resources professional. So don't worry about if you're not going to be recognized as an expert, because with either exam, HRCI, SHRM, CP, or PHR, you're going to be recognized as an HR professional. Like, you good, girl. You good. So I said this in my last video. I'm going to say it again because it's a limited time offer. If you go to my website right now and you go down to where I sell the certification note, SHRM and HRCI, but they're HR certification study notes. So they're there. They're awesome. They're $89.99. The price is going up slightly when the 2023 notes come out, but there's a 40% discount. So if you're like, Timeka, you already told me there's not going to be much different, because I watched your last video where you talk about BoCK and BASK, and you said there's not going to be very much different between the two, then definitely use that 40% off discount code. After you put your information in, it will be emailed to you. So you definitely want to grab that code because it's only a limited time. Those notes will be coming out this month. I'll definitely be sharing that date on either future videos or on definitely on my email list. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I'll probably share it there too. But I definitely will have a date that's coming up firm for these notes. These notes will be out in May. And as a result, you might want to go ahead and grab that 40% off code right now while it's available. It'll only be there for a period of time. There's tons of links to different videos. I have a whole SHRM playlist or HRCI certification playlist that's down in my description box. So check it out. And you can just be getting yourself all geared up all together. I tell you all about my experience. I tell you about when I failed. I tell you about when I passed. I tell you about the difference between SHRM and HRCI. I tell you about the differences over time. I tell you what SHRM and HRCI don't tell you. There's tons of videos there that can help guide you through this process of being certified. So definitely check it out. It's in the description box below. And if you need a little help, you like,
listen, girl, I think I'm good. I know which one I want to do. Yeah, Timeka, I done figured that out. These videos really helpful.
And guess what? I have a checklist. You got to get ready to start studying. It's going to take a while for you to get this information, digest it into your spirit. And if you already have that information, then it'd be good to have the checklist. It's an absolutely free checklist that you can kind of verify, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm good. So I'll have that down in the description box as well, so you can grab that free study checklist. Get yourself all ready for the exam. So for those of you who are new, I hope that you found this helpful enough that you subscribe. Definitely please hit the like button. And for those of you who are returning, I can't wait to see you in the next video.